Hey everybody, how's it going? Sorry for the delay. I got all new internet stuff. So basically, new router, new modem, and new internet service. Hold on, I'm getting feedback. Doot, doot, doot. All right, there we go. So, can everybody hear me okay? Can we get a yes? I can hear you through your ridiculous outfit. What is up? Hello to everybody streaming in. Boy, I can't see it. We'll have to take all this silliness off. How's everybody doing today? Sorry for that delay, as I said earlier. I'm hoping the stream quality is better. It looks kind of jittery now. We'll have to optimize stuff later. Spirulina, for being early, you get to wait. I'm sorry. That's all you get. Muppet, Shannon, hello. Let's see here. Average Fish Keeper, Mark, what is up? Summer tubbing, have me some blast. So, how is everybody doing? Um, it's like the Twilight Zone. Okay. All right. So let me show you real quick. Taylor, thank you very much. I appreciate that praise. Chevy Fish, what is going on? Mary's Pet Palace, hello. And the Novice Aquarist. That seems like a tongue twister. The Novice Aquarist, the Novice Aquarist, the Novice Aquarist, the Novice Aquarist. But yes, so in any case, let's turn this ship around. So yeah, new triple pronged router that's supposed to be good for 160 feet in each direction. And then new modem. See, I haven't even, I didn't even organize it. That's how pressing it was that I got to you guys. And then all the junk that I haven't put away or cleaned up yet. So my wife will probably come home. She's out jogging. She'll probably come home and be like, what did you do to the house? And why can't I connect to the internet? But that's a subject for a different video on a different channel. Today, I wanted to chat. Just wanted to chat with y'all. I mean, as always, it will be the format of, "Hey, Alex, I have a question, and if I can help you answer it, I will." Then it will also be, I want to talk to you guys about fish that don't need filtration. And that's a bit of a misnomer. I mean, they don't need purchased filtration. They don't need filtration that you go to the store and buy. Even if you have a fish bowl with a sponge at the bottom that's not hooked up to an airline, that's filtration. In fact, even a bowl is filtration. You get good bacteria that grows and algae and things in the bowl, so that's a type of filtration. But that's the kind of filtration we're going to be talking about today. So we're going to talk about fish that you can do that with. They happen to be fish that you could probably best pick for doing summer tubbing and things like that. And then also, I have some pretty fun announcements. I have some giveaways and all sorts of stuff like that. So let's just jump in on that if that sounds good to you guys. Um, and then I'm going to answer a question first, though. Let's get this started because I see this question all the time. Any advice on getting rid of Hydra in a planted community tank that is heavily planted, has shrimp, also blackbeard algae all of a sudden, too, thinking it came on some new plants? All right, so those are two separate issues, and I would treat them as such. However, planaria, what I usually recommend, you probably didn't just get like one or two on a plant and then it exploded. Realistically, they may have come in on plants, but if you're seeing more than like just a few, they came out of the soil. They came out of the substrate or a dead fish or a dead snail. And it's an adult that laid eggs and they came out of the substrate, and there's probably hundreds in there, honestly, even if you see a few. The best way to get rid of those is like you can use pan cure or any sort of deworming kind of stuff. I know other people have used oh, what's the other one? I mean, I guess you could use like fenbendazole and things like that, levamisole sometimes, but that can hurt shrimp and things. So I would go online and get the like the Pancure or something like that. As for the blackbeard algae, that's a tough one. You're either gonna check out my video on blackbeard algae, and I would say that you want to get a hypodermic needle slash turkey baster, depending on how big your tank is, and you're going to want to use hydrogen peroxide. Pull out your decorations, clean them in hydrogen peroxide. It'll turn the blackbeard algae like an orange color, and then you'll know that it killed it. And then fish will eat that, and or if you can rip chunks of it off, do that if there's that much. But if you're just starting to see it, getting your tank in balance is another really good piece of advice. So I want to show you guys something real quick. So this tank here has been set up now for, I guess, almost a year. But it has blackbeard algae growing on it, right? And it has it there for a while. If you recall, there was an episode where it started growing other places, and I started freaking out. It'll grow on the bulbitis every once in a while, but here's the cool part. The fact that there are other kinds of algae in here and that there's so many plants, I figured out the light cycle and the nutrients that need to be what it needs to be set at per se to keep it in equilibrium. So you can have blackbeard algae. See, it's on these leaves too. And it seems certain plants it just seems to love, certain anubias and things. And you can toy with how much light they're getting. That can change things quite a bit. But other surfaces, it seems to really like flow as well. So it seems to like hard, non-porous, even though Anubias and things like that, they are technically porous. They're less porous than other leaves. So they like a sturdy leaf, like the Logonandrum eboldi here. You can see on the stem, there might be a little bit. But you can get away with just having that little bit if you have, I mean, there's a little bit of diatom algae on here. You can see it really well because of the angle right here. But, I mean, normally you don't hardly see it. But there's diatomaceous algae. There's also some on that same Logonandrum eboldi plant. And so you can also see there's green algae down here with a little bit different look than the other diatom algae. And sometimes I'll get a little bit of wispy green algae, but it's all in balance. So the key is not necessarily to get rid of everything. And a lot of times when people use chemicals like, I mean, you can use something like Flourish XL that has the risk of melting Vallisneria, Crips, Mayaca, any little delicate plants, it can melt. But that is an option that you can use, as well as other carbon-based, algicides. But the thing is, then it kind of starts a cycle of it makes more ammonia because the algae's dying. Then the ammonia has to get filtered by good bacteria. So you better hope that your good bacteria starts eating it. Then your good bacteria eats all the dying algae. You should be doing water changes, and that will help with that. But once that's eating the algae, it can't keep up with it usually. So then they start ramping up. Bacteria starts building all over the place to try to eat that extra algae that's dead. And then beyond that, you can have things like your oxygen plummet in the tank, just like it would in high heat when you've got too much algae in the water. After it's dying, the bacteria can eat it. Then the bacteria is all of a sudden, there's this huge colony of bacteria and no algae to eat once you get rid of all the algae after you do the water changes and follow the bottle. So then sometimes people will have a rebound where all of a sudden the algae will, or the bacteria, I'm sorry, will die off, and you'll just get a milky, cloudy tank that's just kind of a mess. And then all of a sudden the algae starts growing again, and you have to use the chemicals again. So if you can avoid that, I would really recommend that. And I have a couple of videos on getting rid of algae and how plants and algae work with nutrients. Check out those videos too. Yeah, so let's see here. Let me take a look at what other people said real quick. And Hydra and Planaria, kind of the same thing. Usually they're a sign that you're overfeeding or that it's just a new tank, it's cycling, and all the little microorganisms have not established rank yet. And so Hydra and Planaria are kind of apex predators in that ranking. And without fish that eat those things in the tank, they really can get out of control. However, you can do things like just changing the pH, adding some catappa leaves to a hydra, to a really intensely colonized hydra tank. If you have just some tetras and maybe some neocaradinas in there, you could add maybe 2 or 3 catappa leaves to a 10 or 20 gallon, and oftentimes that acidity just makes it so they don't want to reproduce and they kind of slowly die off. But there's also little traps, and then also I recommend draining the tank like quickly with a siphon, with a fast siphon, and then wiping the sides really thoroughly because they'll be all over the glass, but they can also launch off. I have a whole video on Hydra too, so check those out, and if you still have more questions, then come back to me, and hopefully I can help fill you in on that. Big City Bettas says, I mean, to each their own, but we're running over 100 tanks with 0 filters on air. Most fish don't need a filter, just plants. Yeah, Big City Bettas. Are you just doing air stones or are you doing sponge filters? Because sponge filter's totally a filter. If you're just doing air, I would agree, but I'm talking not even doing air. I'm talking the kind of fish that you can just kind of plop and drop and they'll survive as long as you've got enough plants and water. Resnor, hey, is the goby safe for shrimp tank? Yeah, mine have been. Not all gobies, though. We'll go downstairs and I'll show you guys that in a minute. We'll look at the other tanks. The other thing I wanted to show you while we're up here and while they're hanging out is the Medaka, the red cap rice fish. They're called red cap, and right now on a live stream, of course, the color integrity is garbage, but you can probably make out that their heads are bright orange. I mean, it's under super bright light right now, so it's kind of hard to see that. But let's see, can we get a better shot anywhere? Maybe here. Come on. So, man, they're so bright white that it's hard to get the orange in the picture. But they are there. You probably saw it for a sec. They are very. There we go. There you can see it looks peach, but it's actually bright orange. So these kind of look like little koi. I got these from Aquatic Arts. So they're all grown now, and then their babies are growing out. And so I've been stealing the eggs with a little pipette. So every morning that I notice they have eggs, I'll attack them with the pipette. I'll catch them in this net, and then I'll just net pipette, and then I take that and I'll put it in a little jar over in the kitchen, and they'll stay in there. Although I want to start keeping them in here, just because I think it's gooey and would be funny. So, yeah. Alex, do you ever have time? Wait, do you ever time siestas for your tanks? Yeah, totally. I do 4-hour lights, then 4 hours for them to be off, 4 hours on again. Hey now, yeah, I definitely do that, especially if I'm having algae issues in any of my tanks. I will turn them on in the morning, so like when I get up and I'm, getting ready for the day, that they're ready and hanging out with me. And then I'll turn it off until like 5 o'clock at night, and then it'll come on until like 11. So plants are okay with that. You need at least 4 hours of time. I was experimenting with the idea that maybe you could trick them into doubling days by doing that, by like 6 hours on, 6 off, 6 on, 6 off. It doesn't work like that. Both the fish and plants seem to know, but as long as they're getting 8 hours of light, I mean, they could even just get 6 hours of intense light and they'll be fine. It's more about the amount of lumens and the Kelvin, like the spectrum of light that they're getting for how long in, say, a 24-hour period. Because I'm actually working on, and you guys might dig this episode, but I'm working on an episode right now. I've been filming it at night and it's how plants open and close and how they turn towards the sun or make more red pigment to pick up better, so that they can pick up different wavelengths of light. That's why trees, their leaves turn colors in the fall as the sun becomes more of an acute angle on the horizon. So I will actually be talking about some of that stuff, about how plants actually do keep time, and they actually count, sort of. They know that like Venus flytraps and acacia trees, lots of different plants independently evolved the ability to know like that they're being messed with, and after a certain amount of times, they'll release chemicals into their stem or plants, or the leaves, and that will then make the plant bitter, for instance. So they know that if a plant has been munched on by something, like over here, thank you, albino cribs, I'm looking at you. They love the Logonandrum eboldi. Here we are. This little girl is trouble. And then they're teaching the other uh, cichlids to do it also, which is troubling to say the least. But yeah, so here's the albino cribs. They're looking lovely. The male here, they've kind of taken over this cave, but I think they need sand. So I'm going to get them some more sand. They had sand in several spots in this tank, and they just couldn't behave themselves. They got rid of it all. They buried it all. But there were two big patches of sand for them and little huts and hides, and they just, yeah, they can't behave, so they don't get their sand replaced. I'm not Mr. Sandman. So they are a pair, which is good. They're doing their thing. The new update, if you didn't hear it, on the other awesome little dwarf cichlid that we're keeping is the Nanochromis consortus. Turns out one was a sneaker female. I've never seen a sneaker female. I've seen sneaker males. But this sneaker female pretended that she was male, and she has an ovipositor. Even though her finnage and everything looks like a male would, both of them have ovipositors, and now I don't know where in the heck I'm going to get a Nanochromis consortus, which is an extremely endangered species right now, from a country that we're not importing from. And so I'm really just hoping the wet spot will have another pair available from whoever they're getting them from. They do have a breeder in Nigeria and in the Congo, I believe, that they work with, that has been able to get them out. So they're not really totally wild, but they've got like ponds over there where they're trying to keep some of the cichlids off the Congo River, where they're gonna dam things, and off the Naf River, where they're gonna dam some things up in the Central African Republic, and then the Democratic People's Republic of Congo, which is a funny name for a place run by warlords, essentially. Let's see here. I'm just taking a look at all y'all talking so much. I'm trying to make sure that I'm not missing anybody. Helen Bowler, hello. New Mexico Aquatics, hello from the from the enchanted land of enchantment. That's right, little Bobby. Big City Betas, none of the tanks have air or filters, nor heaters. Our tanks are completely natural with the exception of QT for those have sponge filters. Oh, right on, Big City Betas. So are those all betas, or are you guys doing full-on community tanks like this too? Because as you guys know, downstairs, I have a tank that is kind of like a 20-gallon version of this, where it was just super planted, and I went low light, low everything, and then the filter broke, and then I just let it sit and saw what would happen. There were a couple fish that I saw gasping, like a few of the larger Danios were not happy with it because they swim a lot and they don't really breathe air, like at the top of the water. Whereas like cories and smaller nano fish, they can really handle less oxygen sometimes. It's like loaches and barbs and quick moving fish a lot of times will have issues. So yeah. But yes, I do plan on rescaping this tank. It's out of control, as you know. My wife and I had planned to move houses. We have made several offers on houses and then been outbid, like, the last day, last few hours of it kind of thing, by cash buyers in the Seattle area. And so we basically are kind of just in this holding pattern of like, I didn't want to break down the tanks, so I am slowly selling off a lot of the livestock. I'm keeping my favorite critters, so like the lemon plecos will stay. Here's the female. And then the, right here, the Nanochromis consortis will stay. All four leopard frog plecos will stay. The albino cribs. As for like, and then my wife likes the gouramis. So the gouramis will stay. These guys will be fine. They can handle a move, no problem. So we won't be moving far. We'll be moving, closer than 15 miles, most likely. But it'll just be, just draining the tanks down. I have a whole episode on moving with fish. It's not fun. So, yes, Randall, I am totally. My wife and I have been looking at house options, and we are literally looking for a house that has room for the tanks, and ideally has room for, like, so I could have two racks rather than the one rack and kind of consolidate things so I don't have one room of a bunch of tanks spread out. So yeah, we are thinking about that. We are looking for, yes, ideally, a basement or a bottom floor. We found a few places where you could turn the attic into a fish room, but that just sounds like all sorts of terrible for low weight bearing and for leakage and things like that. So, yeah. But Howlin' Bowler. So, Alex, how for, this is not Shakespeare. I'm sorry, you guys. For the book competition, what counts as inspiration? My most recent inspiration was doing more research on what goldfish actually prefer and then setting that up as a new tank. Yeah, I mean, a biotope would totally count as inspiration. So if you guys don't know what she's talking about, so we got a copy of this book, which is incredible. I just did an episode on this. If you haven't seen it, it's the last episode. But I got 2 copies of this book. The other one is stashed away for safekeeping. But this is definitely the new gold standard in any sort of identification. This book is about $100 new, plus customs, plus shipping, and the value added tax and all that kind of stuff. It could be close to $200 depending on what country you live in, like the US. But right now it's only being sold by the author in Germany on her website, which I link to and give you guys all the info. But yeah, I go through it in more detail in the last episode. Check it out if you're interested. But I'm also giving away a signed copy by Crystal Kesselman. I don't know how to say it. Everyone here says Castle, like harsh, but I think it's more like Crystal Kesselman, but whatever. So, yeah, we're giving away a book, and the fella who I'm friends with who helped me out with this, his name is Alan. Allyn. You see him from time to time on the channel, in the chat, and so forth. He's been around a long time. He's an ancient one. And he is the guy who reached out to her. He came all the way out east for the Aquatic Gardeners Association meeting, also in Seattle, the first time we ever had that here. And he came out, and I met him, and we got, we've been talking for a year probably already at that point. And that was almost 2 years ago now. But he and I bid for some of the same things and got to know each other. And Crystal Castleman and Karen Randall, and Gary Lang. There were all sorts of people from the fish and plant community, aquatic plant community. Oh, check this out. Sergio, for once, hasn't eaten his actual live babies. Let's see if she sticks that baby somewhere again, or if she literally just ate it. She might have just eaten it. This could all be over very soon now that I say that. I probably shouldn't have even mentioned it. They're on about day 8 of these babies, taking care of them in this crazy tank. Like I just stopped taking the eggs because I don't need a 1,000 baby angelfish right now. But you can see that they're guarding them pretty fiercely. Sergio, I don't know. He's been very gentle for the most part. Yep, see, he's spitting the babies back out. So he's doing a good job. But this little uppity new mate of his, because remember, he used to be paired up with her, and she's totally full of eggs right now. She literally has an ovipositor that is open. Like she wants to lay eggs yesterday. And then also this guy and gal, the cribs are totally ready to spawn too. This little lady is doing her thing. Where is the male? The male's back over somewhere. So they're doing their thing down there. But they're looking very nice. And she's another one that she kind of looks a little male-ish too, the way she's got the sharper fins. Usually they're a little more rounded, but she does have the big round belly compared to the male, who's less colorful. But check out the fighting going on. So all 3 are females that have paired off with Sergio. All 3, the 2 blues and the gold, have paired off with Sergio in the past. And right now, the gold one, who's the smallest and youngest, is who these little babies right here on the branch. That's whose spawn they are. So, but she does this crazy attack where she turns sideways and just rams the side of this one. So I was kind of hoping you guys would see that. And this one totally just eggs are on, and they're not getting badly hurt. They're not even missing scales, so I've kind of let it ride, but I would like to have another tank for them soon. But I'm really proud of them for getting the parenting part right. It's the first time they've made it without killing all the babies as wigglers. So the fryers, they can start to swim now on their own. But they still stick to the logs. So you see them every once in a while, they fall off and the parents go running for them. But they've started to kind of swim. There's the dad spitting more out back up onto the little log. Yeah. So in any case, let me get back to the chat because I know that you guys are all chatting away. So yeah, for that book, that's what we'll get back to. The Zen Ginger, hello, Lumpy Dog. Man, we got a lot of people in here today. If you could hit that like button, I would like that while you're here. We've got 18 likes, 45 people, and we've had 160 people stop through in the half hour. So, oh, Sergio rammed her. That's spousal abuse, Sergio, you jerk. Sergio's big now. He's over 8 inches now from tip to tip. But, yeah, it's kind of odd. The cribs stopped spawning recently. Oh, did you guys see that? Did that get caught? The yellow female just slammed into her. So that was what I was trying to show you guys, was that weird. She turns sideways. It looks like a freaking bow and arrow, like from if you guys played the N64 version of Zelda, when Link pulls the arrow back and it gets all narrow and then lets go and it's like flying all, aerodynamically, is what the little, looks just like the animation of an arrow in that game when you watch the yellow one come ramming. See, the other blue one, she's smart. She hides in either the caves or the grass, or she can just hang out and not be near the babies. But right now, the babies, see, she just gets kind of lectured. Whereas this one is a dum-dum and just, see, she threatened it. But yeah, so back to the book thing. So for inspiration, we'll announce the event right now. So basically, Alan and I, we were talking. He talked to her, got the book sent through customs, and she signed it for me, which was really sweet. And she signed the other copy. Just best regards. But it's nice to have a limited first edition signed copy of a book from someone, and it's going to be a gold standard for decades to come in the hobby. I guarantee it. So not only is the book worth a couple $100, but you guys, it's very limited to try to get the the actual, signed book. Oh, they're both coming over. See, Sergio's actually very kind. He never actually slams into the females. But wait till his lady gets in there. So yeah, um, the idea for the giveaway of the book, and also I have $100 Aquatic Arts giveaway, gift card giveaway. I have a $50 gift card to give away, and I have three $25 gift cards to give away, and we're gonna give those away all throughout the month. So the way we're gonna do that for the book is on its own kind of, and the book is going to be I want to see an aquascape or a tank. It could be a goldfish bowl. It could be a Rubbermaid container. Honestly, I don't care what it is expense wise. You don't get points for having ADA or Kessel lights or whatever, They do look nice. They look sleek. That's fine. But what we will be looking at is one, like creativity. Two, we're going to ask you to have inspiration. So if that's a biotope, find a picture of a biotope of where your fish live that you're creating the tank for. If it's Iwagumi, do that. If it's a diorama, like say you wanted to do, I don't know, the San Bernardino Hills, and that was your inspiration, and you had like little rocky hills with sand down below, and a carpeting plant on some rolling hills farther back in the scape. Well, then just have a picture of or a few pictures even of your inspiration. Or if there's a tank, you're literally just trying to copy to learn the skills. There's no shame in that. If you see um, uh, if you see an amazing, a mono scape or something, um, there's no shame in copying him. It's hard to learn how to take care of all those things. But yeah, so that's kind of the deal. And then the second weekend of September is when we'll be asking for those by, and we'll announce the winner probably right around then. After we announce, we'll have at least a week of announcing, but you can submit it anytime before then on our Facebook group for this channel, which is linked in the description of most of my videos. I'm not sure if I actually put it on there today because I'm a big dummy who was in a hurry, but yeah, so let's see here. Let's get to the next line of business before we talk about the meat and potatoes, and we'll go take a look at what's going on in the world of fish without filters. But I wanted to show you guys this. So, for my... Oh, and the computer got fixed. Yay, you guys, all the super chat money. I'm not kidding. It literally helped get the computer, router, modem, and update on the internet. So, awesome. That's where the Patreon money and the super chat money has gone, saved up the last few months, and that's where it went to. So I really appreciate it. But yeah, so here we've got my merch store, the Teespring store, but I'm adding more things, and if anybody has requests, let me know. So if none of this stuff says the secret history living in your aquarium, I don't think it should. I just want to show, art for art's sake. Of course, now you can't see that one. Art for art's sake on shirts and hoodies and phone cases and whatever it is that floats your boat. Um, there's a mechanical version of the animal on most of these shirts on the front, and then on the back there is a more accurate, like this is a caridina shrimp um, version of the same animal. Phone cases. Uh, this is also like most of these things are dual sided though, and then they're also all the reason they're priced a little bit higher than you may have seen. So there's like the Corridora that's all clockwork on the front, and then on the back we've got the Trilineatus Corridora. Um, but and then we've got a hoodie with a big old betta on it. And this comes, of course, in other colors too. So you can select different colors. If you don't see the color you want, let me know, and sometimes I can add it to the store. But so you see the realistic betta on the back, and then on the front, there's a wind-up betta. And then I've got some merch on here that is new masks too. So for covering up in public, if you want a wind-up goldfish, you got a wind-up goldfish mask. And it comes, I think we've got some color choices here too. Um, and then the other thing that's new, we got leggings. These are kind of funky. I would love to see somebody actually rock these. I'm tempted to. But they just have the wind-up shrimp on one side and the real shrimp on the other. And they're kind of angled. I know that's real weird. You'd have to be a total dork to wear those. You'd have to be my kind of people. Also added mugs. So if you want a mug, so like I said, everything has the two versions of the fish on it. And yeah, you can get it. And anything that's on this website now, I'm taking 20% of the profit that I make. So I make somewhere between $1 and like $6 or $7 usually profit off of these items. What they do is they ship, they print, and they have the material, and then they send me the difference. So like this pillow is 28, and I think I get $5.99 off of that or something like that. Like that, the big pillow, the big size. But this one is some Shelly's. This one was done for Ginger Graves, actually, her Shelly's. But you can get it done in another color. Whatever floats your boat. Lots of color options for the pillow. And so every shirt and cut of shirt has, everything has different styles. But then on the back of the pillow, obviously it's reversible. So we've got that's odd. That might be an error. I can't see it says text. That's probably a problem on their end. I'm glad I found that with you guys. But, there's a few versions of the pillow. And so, yeah. And then, of course, lots of shirts. And all these shirts, you can pick the one that's $15.99. And that's the one that's like made by kids chained to a desk. And you're an awful person if you buy it. No, I'm just kidding. Those are just cheaper quality shirts. They're not necessarily fair trade sourced and all that. But again, front and back printed, so dual print, that costs a little more for me, but I think it's worth it. And it makes it so that the t-shirts, like a women's fitted tee, 22 for size small to XXL, I think. Classic tee, 21. And yeah, so there's some I think that are like $15. Yeah. The masks are $14. Also, we've got Celestial Pearl Danio here print. There was going to be something on the back, but then I decided, no, you know what? We'll just not do that. And then Pleco, Zebra Pleco hoodie. So I liked it in white, but and there's nothing on the back of that one either. But I'll be adding more artwork and more fish, more things to this whole series. And the Patreon folks are getting they're getting advanced look at anything that comes up onto this website. And then beyond that, yeah, let's see here. So yeah, you can go all the way to 2 times XL for that same price. And we've got V-neck shirts, normal shirts, whatever. So it's kind of a cool setup. This one here, last one I'll show you guys, is the Oranda goldfish that's wind up. And then on the back, we've got the natural, or like lion's head, I don't know what you call it. I'm not a goldfish person. I just drew the goldfish. Um, but yeah, so there's lots of stuff, lots of different color options. And if you want like the beta on a mask and you don't see it and you want the mask to be purple, just message me, let me know, and I will try to accommodate you wherever I can. But yeah, and then 20% of the profit, I know I like drifted off on what I was talking about, but 20% of the profit of any of these shirts will be going to a different charity each month. And so Project Piaba, I think, will be our first charity that we're going to give to. And then maybe like Iama or the Running River Rainbow Fish. So we've got lots of things in the works. And I didn't want, like I said, I didn't want that to be supporting my YouTube and saying secret history. If you guys want to tell people that's what it's about, you can, but I want it to be more about the fish, the art, the hobby, the passion. So, yeah, you can check that stuff out. I'll be adding more artwork because I have a lot. It's just formatting it and cleaning it up and digitizing it. So let's see if the internet works better now down here and all that jazz. The other crazy thing going on, we're going to talk about filterless fish in a moment, but check Adisa out. So we've got this mess on the glass, right? Yeah. So this is the other fish. Here's one of the other Turkish blue ladies. And look at their massive babies. Their babies can swim right now, but dad has like stuck them with his spit into a ball and they're trying to swim off and they're just tending to them. And there's like this weird water mold that they're feeding them, and they rub their dad. I've never seen this with angelfish. I've seen it with discus a lot, obviously. But dad is, you can see this clump is ready to like swim away, all these little fish. But dad is rubbing himself on on the little babies with some sort of slime that you can actually see. It's like you can see it's gross. It's on the inside. But it's like a jelly and they're eating it. You can actually see the babies moving around on the glass and eating that gel. And so I read about it, and it's their biofilm. So it's actually he's encouraging algae and aufux so that the little baby fish have essentially fresh food to eat. That they have brand new food, which I think that's really cute and cool. Somebody asked if the also I got rid of all of my betas except for my favorites. So we've got blue and azure and Cerulean or Cerulean, however you want to say it. And then I don't know where purple went, but you're kicking it somewhere in there. But yeah, the gobies, like the lipstick gobies that are in here, not shrimp friendly at all. These guys, totally shrimp friendly. The Synodontis, these guys are awesome. And they love shrimp. They may eat a baby shrimp or two, maybe, but really they eat biofilm, and that's all they eat. And so you better be ready to be giving them, see how I'm floating Anubias from upstairs? Anything with algae or leaves, any sort of debris, I bring up or down to them so they can eat on that. And also my longfin white plecos are in here with them. And right now I have the wave maker or power head turned off. But let's go to the extreme of things, and let's go to a tank. That's a tank right there. Let's go to a tank that has not had heat, filter, anything other than water top-offs, not even real changes, for going on 6 months. The light is medium to low, and yet look at all the shrimp in here. The water is looking cloudy, and what I'm guessing that is, because the ammonia and the nitrites are actually fine, I'm guessing, and I was worried that it was like, that there's not enough dissolved oxygen or, you know, whatever. But what it is, I think, is the bacteria. There's not enough of a surface area for the bacteria to have colonized. So it's actually dying and in the water. You can see where it's kind of growing on the sides. I was just digging in this tank this morning. You can kind of see I got in here with my fingers and kind of freed up some of the soil, because you could see that there's a lot of dust in here and mud, and it was just getting really muddy around the plants. So I wanted to kind of loosen them up, make sure they weren't getting root bound. But look at this, even loaches are surviving just fine without any sort of filter. They look like they're breathing a little faster, but they've been doing that for 6 months now. Now, can I say that this is great for them without Jeff Chambers, by the way, I just saw your chat, which is, do you sell prints of the art or just the Teespring? Right now it's just Teespring. I used to sell prints. I mean, my artwork was my living. Then I kind of switched more to graphic design. But I mean, I do anatomical, biological art as my main type of artwork, and I do scientific illustrations for the University of Washington for botany and mycology, mostly for when they find new mushroom species. So recently I helped, this is going to be far out there for anybody's knowledge, I know, but actually, you know what? Psych Hippocampus, you might actually get this one. But the P. alani or alani mushroom that's found now in San Francisco, in a few pockets, but mostly in Portland and Seattle, in between those two places. The P. alani or Psi alani mushroom I helped illustrate and also gather samples of. And then Alan Rockefeller, and then another guy, another Alan. It doesn't matter. You guys don't know what I'm talking about. But they are big in the mushroom hunting community here in the Pacific Northwest. In the fall, I like to go mushroom hunting, and that's a new species that I was lucky enough to be a part of naming. So, yeah. And I love mushrooms, in case, for those of you asking in the comments here, I can identify about 220 species, I would say confidently. And I also have my, most people know this, I think, by now, but I have a coloring book about mushrooms, too, that I did for, like, learning to identify mushrooms. I'll just show you guys real quick, and then we're going to get back to filterless tanks. I also did a psychedelic coloring book, but we'll talk about that another time. This podcast, this webcast, live stream, we don't need to. But yeah, so right now, I don't know if this is still up on Amazon, but some of these are a little more, like, stylistic, but I mean, when you're getting my art on a shirt, not to be full of myself, but I've been in galleries in Cairo, in Paris, in Asia, in LA, New York, all over the place. So some of this stuff is kind of collectible to those who care. I just don't really talk it up on this channel a whole lot because that's not what you guys come here for. But if you do like that stuff, um, yeah, I've got merchandise that I've been putting the art on, and we'll be making more of it in the coming days and months. And then the other thing is, people on Patreon, I've actually illustrated some of their fish for them and then put that directly onto shirts for them. So they've got their own fish. Like Ginger's art is up, and she's kind enough that she shared it. But so some of those, some the Shelleys and the mechanical Oranda, I think, and the, was it that one? But in any case, and then we're gonna have some cribs that she's got coming soon too. But yeah, I just got the computer back thanks to all you guys, your super chats and your Patreon help. So I wanted to thank you, get stuff up there, and yeah. Oh, I'm not talking about Nem Jeff. I don't know what would ever make you say that. And also, by the way, psychedelic hippocampus. If you go to my website, which is Soma SOMAINK, Soma Inc. Designs, plural, SomaIncDesigns.com. You can see some of the logos I've made. Also, I've got an Instagram that you can check out. I don't think I have any admins on right now today, but I'd post the link otherwise. But yeah, we might do another mushroom foraging episode. 2 years ago, I did one where I said very clearly that this is not a fish episode. And then it turned into a fish episode because there were fish by the stream where I was foraging. There were sticklebacks. But we might do some mushroom guided walk and talks in the fall. Alan, thank you so... Alan, you're always there when I need you. You are the wind beneath my wings, brother. Thank you. So that's yeah, that's my website there. If you're curious, you can hit me up. I'm happy to do logos. And I'm pretty affordable for, Fish Fam crew. I usually will spend 10 to 20 hours on a project, lay it out in vectorized format so you can do big banners and little stuff, everything from business cards all the way up to banners or car wraps, whatever you need, and all the file formats that you need from PNG to AI. Give you the source files because I don't believe in keeping the source like illustrations and things. So you get all the drafts and all the files, and then usually, I end up working. My wife says for too little, but usually I end up working for around $200 to $400 for a logo, and that's usually 10 to 20 hours. If someone's like, I just need a logo that's like X, Y, or Z, I give them a version, and they're like, yeah, I like that, and could you change the color to this and this? And it takes 5 hours, which happens probably a third of the time. Then I'll just be like, oh, don't even worry about it, or give me $50 or give me $100 or whatever, just and call it good. So I don't really have a set standard unless I'm dealing with corporate. And if it's corporate, then I am $50 an hour for formatting and $100 an hour for creative illustration. Same for the UW, and also for if I'm doing branding and marketing for people, like coming up with campaigns and slogans and things like that. But I've been at that for 15 years now. So, and let's talk more about filterless tanks. So, guppies, obviously, with a B, no V, just B. Obviously, they do fine without anything. Shrimp, Malawa shrimp, Neocaridina, they can do just fine without any filters. Lots of the microrasboras will do fine. They just need acidity in the water. Don't make it so acidic that they can't breathe and change their water. They do like water changes. That is a caveat. A lot of the little fish like changes. Same with the Phoenix rasboras here. celestial pearl danios. And then also we've got the Lake Inlay danios, and then down there we've got the 9-striped dwarf border loaches, who are actually eliciting some spawning behavior. And then the gold ring danio, which I always like them, tin winnie danios. So all these critters are good to go. Also, I highly recommend crypts for low light, no ferts, no CO2. And then I recommend floating plants, because floating plants are going to help suck the nitrites out, nitrates, ammonia, any of that stuff. The problem is, the smaller the tank, so if you have a 5 or a 10 gallon with no filtration, you're going to end up with a smaller volume of water. So any mistake or accident is magnified. Chevy Fish, Tinwinnie. I just like saying it. Yeah, me too. It brings happiness to my life. I tried something too. This tank, I turned the filter back on, but it was filterless for quite a while. Now that the plecos are gone again, it'll go back to filterless. Heaters aren't on in any of these tanks because it's been hot enough. But sparkling gouramis seem to do pretty well as long as they're at about 65 degrees. They seem to do well with everything else. And then we've got all my little endlers in here, but we also have all my, let me grab the stick of destiny, not pick, I said stick of destiny, and we'll agitate. We're gonna aggravate and agitate. Oh yeah, and there's one Nemo beta left, just chilling. But in here, this is a glass bottom tank, and I kind of clean the mulm all the time. But this is also a grow out tank for these orange Venezuelan corridoras that I have a billion of. I've been trying to get them to grow, but some of them just don't want to. Some are already adults, and some are still as small as this little guy. One of the problems with not having a filter in a tank or having moving water per se is that you get this crap on the bottom. You get a lot of mulm, and that's not necessarily bad. I mean, it becomes a filter of its own, but when you disrupt it, it can throw things off, and then you can end up with sick fish. Um, so you'll end up with things like the snails and little scuds and little critters living at the very bottom. The less you mess with your tank and the bigger the volume of water that they are in, the better. In this tank, as you can see, nothing needs roots. It's all either rhizomes or stems or floating or moss, pellia, sawassertong, things like that. And it does just fine. There's even some little plecos growing out in there. But, corridoras, any of the Colombian corridoras are a great animal to have in a filterless tank, because they can come gulp from the surface. Same with gouramis. The thing with those, all of those, is they need heat though. The Colombian like panda quarries, they only need 60 degrees of heat. But gouramis like dwarf gouramis, opaline, or giant gouramis, they're going to need some more heat. But great fish, if you've got at least a 20 gallon like this, or this is a 15, sorry. I highly recommend you could do the paradise fish, or sometimes they're called kissing fish. Sometimes people call the Siamese fighting fish, aka bettas, kissing fish too. But you can get them, and they were kept very early on in Chinese aquaculture history, as well as these rice fish, which have been kept now for around 400 years in Japan. This blue daisies rice fish, it doesn't do as well in a filterless tank. It needs at least air, and it needs enough heat that it stays at 70 degrees, because this is from Malaysia and Indonesia. This blue-eyed, blue-bodied, orange fin one. Whereas these Medaka rice fish, the Japanese Oritiza Lipsa. I can never say it in Latin. I shouldn't even try. Um, these guys don't really need anything. You can keep them. I could keep them in here. Honestly, I could keep one in here or two in here, and they would be fine. They just need food. So they're great for tubs too. Also, all these little shrimp here, these are the gold nebula caridina. They do really well um, without any filtration. Uh, Thank you so much. Oh, whoa, just started seeing super chats rolling in. Uh, Respect, your knowledge is refreshing. Well, thank you so much, Ramon Torres. Uh, Big Yak 35. Hey, what's up? Oh, we can start. Big Yak's here, everybody. Bonsoir, Alex. Isabel Chaussee, how's it going? Oh, you're in Canada. For some reason, I thought you were in France. Whatever. It's all good. It's all good. When I was in Paris, everyone thought that I was from Quebec or Montreal. Like, nobody thought I was American. They thought they detected some weird accent. I probably put some weird accent on because I'm a weirdo. When I'm around people, when I'm around my Scottish family, I'm like, "Aye, it's a good day. You go out and get some haggis." But en français, j'adore parler français. Hmm. Avec moi, petit mignon, euh, petit les filles, Laura. Uh, I like talking French with my cute little wife, Laura. Um, So, in any case, these gobies doing well. These guys are the worst candidates for a filterless tank. Ignore that. Um, Pseudomagills, I have kept them in a filterless tank. They need water changes like every other day if you're going to do that. They like movement in their water. They need it. I don't think it's fair to keep them like that. The more I read about it, there are a few species that are different than others, but now I keep them with two. We've got a backup power head that's slow right here, and then we've got the super power, super soaker one, and then we've got the little rice fish growing out in here too. The green jade shrimp are still in here somewhere. I just don't see them anymore. They're just hide. I only had 10, and I put 3 of the females that are holding babies in here. So 7 little green shrimp. Yeah, I'm never going to see them in a tank that's predominantly green with flow. So up here, we've got, I don't even know if you guys can see them. Alan, thank you so much for the donation. I appreciate it. Alan, I was just talking about you, and I don't know if you were in here when I was talking about the contest, but maybe what I'll do is I'll invite you on a live stream, and we can both be on there. Oh, cool. Yeah, I live in Seattle. Um, is haggis the same thing as brats? No. Haggis is way worse. It's just the intestines and the stomach lining and sometimes boiled blood, like curdled blood, from sheep and bile, and they boil it in the stomach that's tied off, and they like cook it, and then there's other ways to finish it, but then they slice it up. Um, it's gross. It's like pate gone wrong for poor people. Um, so oh yeah, but Alan, I was saying that we're gonna give people a total of 6 weeks from now to get there. I'm trying to get these things to focus so you can see the little. There we go. You can see some of the ones. So right now I'm doing the daisies blue rice fish, and also doing the pearl scale platinums, both from Aquatic Arts. And as I always say, there's a link in the description below to the Teespring store and to the also to the you can see the blue, the daisies blues. Their eye is so blue, and their head is kind of blue when they're young. And then their body's kind of gray. You can see them. Whereas the white platinum ones just look platinum. So They do great though. Yeah. Ah, very good comparison of haggish. Ah, yes. Ah, ah, ah. These guppies do well too. I mean, I haven't run into guppies or endlers that don't do well in a filterless. Down here, this hasn't had. If you can see, the filter's not really on. Uh, it's just chilling. But this is where I raise my Batis. So Batis are another one that do epic things without filtration. They're fine. You need a very well established tank before you endeavor on any filtrationless escapades, I would say. Um, you definitely want a tank with, see this growth? It's got like bacterial growth, algae growth, fungal growth. Um, and then we've got a load of pregnant shrimp in here too. And right now, I don't even feed these shrimp. They just hang out and get pregnant. I mean, what a life, right? And there were the Scarlet Batis adults in here, and I got them spawning. And so now there's eggs waiting to hatch, which usually takes, it can take up to a month before I will start to see the teeny little fry. And they're very, very shy. Their fry are. They'll probably be hiding like back under here. And I'll probably have to harass them to find out that they even exist. But it's probably another week or two before I'll worry about that. Um, but yeah, so these shrimp obviously do hunky-dory without any sort of filter or heater or anything. A lot of people worry about their shrimp a lot and seem to have a hard time getting things going. But when, uh, you know, yeah, Alan, I think I will do an official contest video for visibility. Also because I'm going to be giving away some more gift cards to Aquatic Arts. So we're going to do that. We'll probably give away some merch from the Teespring store. And Alan, maybe if you would like to, you could at least be a guest for some time. And you could hop on there with me, and we could say what we're looking for. But basically, we want your best source of inspiration, whether that be, like I said, you could use a fishbowl and do iwagumi and just have 3 stones or 5 stones. You could do, uh, a Shelly tank and say that Lawrence of Arabia is your inspiration. You could use clear-coated plastic kids Matchbox toys and put them on a fake racetrack and put fast fish in with them and say that your inspiration was NASCAR. I would love it if someone did that. Whatever it is, it's all good. Just whatever gets your boat floating. Ginger, hey, how's it going? I was talking about you and how your art, everyone else is benefiting from the art that you have, but you have the originals. But yes, how are you doing, my dear? It's great to see you. And I'm, now that I got the computer going, we got the internet going, we got life going. That I can get finished on your crebensis stuff. Also, Cahaba fish. Um, uh, let's see. Beta is the second run of something. Um, beta? Wait, beta is the second run. Beta is a beta, like a fish. Yeah. I just have a weird accent, if that's what we're talking about. Because I used to be an alpha and a beta tester for, I hate to admit this, for a game called Ultima Online. Back in the EverQuest days. Look at all the little babies. Oh, you're going to get the Shelly t-shirt? Oh, cool. And the goldfish face mask. All right. Yeah, if anybody else wants anything else listed on there, like if you see a pattern you want in a certain color, I can put like, I can make the face masks for you guys. Like, not make them. I just have to upload the design and center it, and then select the color and options and then load it. But yeah, we could easily do that. So let's test out this the internets. Let's test out how good this new router is. I lose you. Thank you guys for everything, and seriously, I appreciate it. But if not, then we can talk more about filterless tanks. And today is brought to you by the evil company, Coca-Cola, out of Mexico. When I say I like Mexican Coke, I mean it. It's carbonated water, cane sugar, caramel, phosphoric acid, natural flavors, and caffeine. That's it. Unlike American Coke, which, I don't know, they put like paint thinner in. Oh, we have for wife. Wife, you've got an Amazon thing. I love you. You don't love me? Yeah, no Dr. Pepper right now. It's in the fridge. It wasn't cold, so I went for a Coke. But what I was gonna say, oh wow, I think, do we still have, are you guys still hearing me clearly? Can you see me? All that, other than the lighting suck. The lighting sucks, but can you guys actually see me and stuff? So, you may have said, Alex, where did all your green dragon pluckos go? Well, I traded them for 2 twin star lights and these guys. I traded my purple-eyed green dragons, which are the only line I know that are purple. Yeah, so I traded them, so another fella has them, and I hope that he breeds them better than I could right now. But we got a new rimless 17.5, just like that one that doesn't have a filter right now. And then we got a new shallow tank. These are in preparation for the new house, hopefully. And then also I got a stand out of the deal too. So yeah, new projects coming. I will probably be participating in the whole aquascape inspiration thing. I think I want to do immersed tank. So let's see here. Over here, I don't know if I told you guys, but I was doing a study. So the study in this gross tank, oh, look at all the pollen. Just all the time pollen. It's my Daphnia tank, by the way, but it's also my Endler tank. So what we did was we put females that were really plain, the gray ones, from the rainbow Endlers, yellow tiger rainbow Endlers, and we put orange koi male Endlers in here, and we also put what was the other one? Oh, the fire and ice guppies in here. And we wanted to see, this is unfortunate, but I had so many of them, who the raccoons would eat. So my tanks are over out here almost. I had Medacas, I had 3 going, and now we're down to this one because of the dumb raccoons. I mean, I love them. There's 4 babies that come, but they've gotten into the tank, and unless the water's this low, that's the only way I'm keeping them out. I know I could get chicken wire or, you know, netting, mesh, something like that. And look at the mess. My wife's been going to the beach and floating because it's nice out. What's the rarest guppy? That's always changing. I would say it's probably an old has those anymore. There are guppies that have been let to evolve on their own from the wild, but same with Endlers. But for the most part, those are really hard to find. Even I think the N class maybe, K class, N class, and P class. There's also an S class too. But yeah, the American Live Bearers Association might have some info on that, but I would say that a wild type would be. Beyond that, like, there's some really interesting ones like early delta tail blues, the German buttercups from the 1960s that were very pale yellow, like hardly yellow at all. but they were a big thing at the time because they had the big delta tail. Those were big. When I kept guppies for a time, they were actually, yeah, N class is the pure strain. Thank you so much. Um, uh, so that N class could mean that they are wild, but they may be in a pond together for 100 years or something. Literally, like over in Europe, they could have been brought over, and they could have been, hanging out with just each other. But if they've been bred with another type, then they become K class, I believe. Uh, so yeah. What's the best, cheapest soil for aquarium plants? Dirt, honestly. Look up the Wallstead method. Um, Diane Wallstead's book, The Ecology of the Planet Aquarium. That's the cheapest method, but other than that, Fluval stratum or something like that would be. You could use fluorite, but that's not going to do anything for your plants. But some plants will grow in it. The best website for selling guppies is going to be your own. I mean, Aquabid and GetGills.com for selling anything, but you're going to need to get your own reputation and just quality fish. You can buy from places, mostly Thailand, Indonesia and the Philippines have the highest quality right now. Thailand is probably the best for your money. You get those like 2 day shipped over here. Something like a Dumbo mosaic rainbow guppy would be rare, expensive. Maybe you pay $100 for something like that, depending on the variations. There's like Dumbo ear, mosaic, leer tail, or ribbon guppies. So you can do all sorts of things. Yeah, Ginger. The raccoons haven't found your ponds yet. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, okay, thank you, Chevy Fish. So K class have been crossbred, and P class is wild appearing but not documented. Okay. See, I've forgotten all that. I haven't bred them seriously in a long time. But when I I do have a Coke problem that I'm almost out after this. No, actually, these are 12-ounce bottles, and they feel like huge. I feel like I have an endless amount of it when it's this real sugar stuff. But purple Dumbo snakeskin or cobras were the metallic purple cobras were the rare ones when I first got into it at age like 10 or 12 in the 90s. That was the really rare one that we'd ride away from, or we'd write to like fish fancier and like tropical the tropical I'm trying to think of all the different ones that there were, the magazines. There's all the ones that are owned by Axelrod and his ilk. That's a whole story for another day. Older fish keepers might know that. People older than me. But yeah, before the internet, there were like back pages in magazines, and you'd get information of who to contact or write, and they'd send you a list of who had what. Or you'd have a club somewhere in the country, and they would have a ledger, and they would tell you who was keeping what fish. And then you'd write a letter to them, and by the time they got the letter, like 2/3 of the fish were different. No, it wasn't that bad. But yeah, it was done differently. And I hope to be doing a video on just that, like the difference, how fish keeping has changed and where it's going next. And I have an idea for an app that I've already talked to people about, and I talked about it on the channel 2 years ago. Nobody's done it yet. So it either isn't going to get made, or it is, I don't know. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys right now, because this video has been off track from the whole filterless thing. But it's great that I know I can stand outside now 100 feet from my router. Basically, my idea, I trademarked it. I haven't patented anything. There's nothing really that's that proprietary about it. I'm going to tell you guys this, and then I got to get out of here. But the idea is that everybody would have a virtual queue. If you guys want to work on this with me, if you're a coder and you really want to work on this, seriously, get at me. I would like to build this. I don't think there's that much money in it or anything, maybe period, but definitely for the fish world. But for the dog and horse world, and maybe cats, there could be a lot of money in it. But the idea is that you have a profile, you have a quote unquote fish room. There could be a little fun component, kind of like a Sim City, where you've got your racks and your tanks and you can show your sizes and stuff if you want. And then you've got a list of what fish you have that you can just show people what fish you have and then upload pictures or even video of your tanks. And that's not the important part. That's just a side kind of thing, because a lot of people like sprucing up their digital pets kind of thing. But that would be a feature of it. But the more important thing is you would have a queue of fish that you want. So say right now I need a male Nanochromis consortus, and I would trade my female. So I will say I have 2 female Nano consortus in my queue, 15 Medaka rice fish, 30 orange hyphen Venezuelas guppies, or I mean, guppies, I'm getting tired again. Venezuelas corridores, and then it'll tell me when someone else comes online and has a Nanochromis consortus, and then from there you can come up with terms that everyone is witness to, like on Venmo, and get rated for each interaction. But basically, you could say, I'll give you my male consortus. I want half the fry if they have babies. How did that interaction go? Or I'll trade you a male for a female, or here's the price for that. And so there's some kinks about interstate species and trade and things like that that would need to be figured out. But what I would need is an app designer, a back-end app designer. I can do all the graphics, skins, and stuff. But let me know if you think that would be a useful app. For serious breeders, I think it would, and for dogs. Like, who comes to mind is Betsy Cummings. She's like, got her Salukis, and so if she's like, I got a male Saluki that's 2 years old and I want a brindle one in the Kansas area, and then someone from, I don't know, Oklahoma hits her up and says, I've got that. I ask $2,000 for stud rights. Well, the same thing could work for fish, for rare fish. I'll loan you my angelfish, or you can have my angelfish. I just want a fraction of the profits from the babies they create. But I think it would get things like rare traits. I think that would really help them in our hobby become more popular. Like working on strains, we could really get a lot more done quickly if there was a active catalog of people who want to share their genetic gene pool, ledgers essentially. But yeah, so that Herbert Axelrod, correct, Chevy. So yeah, so that's the idea. It's like a fish swap meet online, yeah, kind of. So in any case, that's the idea. If anybody like seriously wants to work on that, and I mean, we'd be working a lot of hours on it, and I can do the graphics and skin and some of the UX, user experience stuff. That's what I do. But yeah, I think it would be a cool project. Doesn't need to be like really high tech. We could start with just the want list and the have list, and it would basically match up like a dating profile. Like if you guys have the same things, you match up. And then you could also say, yeah, you definitely need to do it right. There's some brainstorming and I need to bounce it off some people who've been in the hobby for a long time, like Gary Lang or, Heiko Blair, like some smart people that could see the pitfalls from here already. Like, well, the problem will be X, Y, and Z. Corey from Aquarium Co-op could probably give me some insight or something too. But really, I'd probably want people who were around pre-internet too. Yeah, exactly. A lot of clubs do it. Right now, with everything in quarantine, it just drives me nuts. No one's doing anything. in my club other than buying and selling. So yeah, and documentation, because there's no sort of like real papers for fish. But if you won, you know, the seagulls, if you won, you know, the AKA American Killie Association, or you know, the North American Native Fish something, you know, award, or best in show award at some aquarium show, that could be documented on the site too. And then I feel like that would give more credibility to the work that people do also. It would just be a way to share accolades and kind of a digital meeting ground for that. But we'll cover more extensively. You know, for these live streams, I give them a title, but I don't always stay on topic. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys are doing well. And yeah, have a great day. Thanks so much for the super chats, folks. If you want to check out the merch, check out the merch. If you don't, have a wonderful day. I will talk to you later. I've got lots of videos in the works, but things have just been busy right now, getting my computer and my internet and everything all set up, and trying to find a house, and then losing the house. Like we won the bid, and then somebody came with cash the hour before close with an offer the exact same as ours. Actually, it was $1 less, just to be a jerk. But Debbie, and have a great evening. Bye.